Happy Friday, everybody. I had a request in this group for a video on the 6 levels of validation, which is something that Marsha Linehan, the founder of DBT, sort of how she laid out the ways to do the most effective, the highest form of validation that there is. And what I'm going to do is kind of give you the short cheat sheet version of that. This, practicing this in your relationships is life-changing. I am so grateful to have it in my marriage and even with my kids. It's something that can help you when people are angry at you, to calm them down and get them to feel heard and connected to you. And it's also something you can do just on a regular basis to feed your relationship, to make your connection closer, and to have people be more willing to really hear you in your times of need when you learn to effectively validate others. So what I'm going to do, instead of going through the 6 levels, like much of DBT, I like to sort of find the heart of it and make it very user-friendly, because DBT can be very, very complicated and complex. So what I'm going to do is to break it down into 3 most important parts of this high level of validation. So the first part is to take yourself and put yourself in the other person's shoes. So think about what they're experiencing. So if it's someone who's angry at you, instead of getting caught up in defensiveness, which we all do, it's totally natural human part of relationships, is when we feel we're being attacked or put down, we either defend or we attack back. And in those moments, that is how conflict escalates, because we're not really listening to hear, we're listening to respond or one up or to win. So the first part of really effective validation is to take a minute and sort of like take off our hat and put on the other person's. Leave ourselves aside and ask ourselves what in what they're feeling is valid. So not even particularly listening to the words that they're saying, because as we all know, when we are angry or upset, we sometimes say things that we don't mean. So listening not to the words, but to the emotion. This person is angry. This person is hurt. What are they feeling that I can understand, that I could relate to? What is valid in their experience? So I can understand what it's like to be at my limit, or I can understand what it's like to feel let down. And this doesn't necessarily mean we take responsibility or put ourselves down or apologize. It means we acknowledge, I can understand what you're feeling. That's the first most effective part. That's really the heart and soul of effective validation. The second part is offering acceptance of the other person, validating that anyone could understand why they responded the way that they did. Even if we seem crazy in the moment, which, you know, emotions can make us all crazy sometimes, it's more about understanding and sort of normalizing, like, that's part of being human, getting upset, losing it, normalizing and letting the other person know they're accepted, even in their difficult moment. And then the third part that's so important, I posted a little bit about it last night, is appreciation. Letting people know that we see the good in them and we appreciate them. And even if someone is really upset with us, now let me get this straight, I would never ever encourage any of you or myself to take verbal abuse. That is not healthy. We should never swallow pain that way and accept that. But if someone is really upset and we understand some of where they're coming from, we can walk away if things are getting verbally abusive. We should never stay in that moment or situation. It's not helpful at all. But if there is something you appreciate, that they have been there for you, that even though they're really mad, that they're expressing it and being willing to talk with you, if you can find something to appreciate in them, that is a really great place to start moving from anger to a more productive, peaceful conversation. And it's basically just something we all love in relationships, is to be heard, to be understood, to be appreciated. So one way that we can all practice more validation is putting our phones down, really trying to make eye contact, and again, listening for emotion instead of to the words. What is this person really feeling? And then reflecting it back, letting the other person know, I hear you. I understand some of what you're going through, or I want to understand. I